Hey, happy Saturday. We're Sean and Allison McManus from Spoken Garden, if you don't know.
I know, we're really excited to be here. This is our Saturday morning live garden chat. So if you're new to joining our show, we're really happy you're here. Let us know in the comments or in the chat, actually, if you're here and where you're from.
Yep. Just say hi, drop us a line. Make sure you got your coffee and tea.
In my case. So it's we're in the Pacific time zone here over in Washington State. So it is 9 a.m. So a little early for us.
Now, so it's October 29th and it's Saturday.
Wow, this month went really fast.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you guys. This month went incredibly fast. So Halloween's on Monday, so that's kind of fun.
Wow.
We're just getting things, our weather's just starting to turn a lot colder here. We had practically summer weather until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was crazy. Probably I think it's the same things going on around the country too.
Yeah, really unseasonably warm weather everywhere.
Yeah. So guys, we're gonna have a fun day today. It's gonna be awesome. Gonna be a fun show. We got a couple things to go over with you. We're gonna talk about pumpkins.
I know. We thought, why not talk about pumpkins? That looks awful.
Hey, she's really critical. That's hers.
I'll try to explain my vision.
Here's mine.
We decided to paint
anyway
this year, but we do have a plan.
For
those.
Yes. So we're going to talk to you today about what to do with your pumpkins after Halloween, and then we're going to talk to you also about garden trends for 2023.
Yeah,
this is really interesting.
Kind of news type items. Kind of in our news segment, we're going to talk about couple things there that we want to share with you and see what you think. Do you agree with some of the trends that are kind of predicted for next year for gardening, of course? And it's interesting because a lot of these trends come directly from like home interior design, like they come over from kind of the home side of things. Kind of coming out into the garden.
Yep. And some of these other trends are coming from it's new trends. They're new trends coming in, and it's fun. It's going to be the new stuff coming in. You're going to see it in the garden centers. You're going to see it online. And so we can't wait to share those with you today. We're
going to talk about, that's probably...
some other things going on. Some new things going on with us, and then some of our videos that are really doing well right now on YouTube. So anyway,
see if they help you. And to kick things off, we're going to start off in just a sec here with a question and answer kind of segment where we pulled a few recent questions, right, from our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, I got to pull those up.
All different videos, different types of content. So we thought maybe this would help you as well, because this is kind of, we're finding a lot of timely kind of questions going on right now, and videos. Like pruning hydrangeas. That's something that's kind of popped up a lot recently in our analytics, just seeing like, a lot of people are really curious about, should they prune hydrangeas right now? Should they not? We talked a little bit about this last week, but other types of things, maybe different propagation type things like coleus. So these are going to, we'll get into these in just a second. Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, If you don't, real quick. If you don't know, we are in Zone 8B. And the Pacific Northwest.
It feels more like 9B this year.
It does. It's been really weird this year. So that's where we garden. If you think of it, go ahead and let us know in the chat where you garden at and what your zone is.
Yeah, love to hear that.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, maybe we should just jump into our questions, and we're kind of waiting for a few more of our friends to show up here. It is Halloween weekend. I was kind of curious if people are busy this weekend.
I think some people are going to be busy, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, the garden doesn't stop, right? And maybe in your area, I'm wondering, like, it sounds like Colorado's getting a lot of snow right now in different parts.
Yes.
Did we talk about that yet? I saw that weather report the other day, and a lot of ski resorts are opening up already.
Oh, good. That's good for business.
If you're from Colorado, we'd love to hear what your weather's like, but not so much here. We're getting rain and wind and that kind of stuff.
Typical stuff.
So
let's get into the Q&A. Let's do this.
Okay, so from Julia K. This comes from a video from about a year ago. Shasta Daisy Plant Care. So she asks, this is really nice too. She says, "You are both so wonderful in the way that you educate your viewers about gardening." Wow.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's lovely. Sorry, can't talk this morning. It's lovely the way you work together. That's really nice.
She needs more tea. I need more coffee.
I do. I'm not awake yet.
Yes.
I have just planted a Shasta daisy bush that I bought from a nursery. I live in Queensland, Australia.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I have also purchased some Shasta daisy seeds, as well as a couple other species. Do you know if daisies are difficult to grow from seed? And do Shasta daisies grow from cuttings? Thanks for your great video.
Oh, that's so cool. Really nice. Thank you, Julia. Thank you for your question. And so the seeds, they're not that hard to grow. You just need to follow the basic steps of growing any seed, which is make sure they're planted at the right depth, make sure they're getting, the seeds are staying moist, they're having that moisture around them in the soil, so keep the soil moist around the seed, but don't keep them overly wet because you don't want them to you don't want them to rot. Right. And then you want to keep that temperature up. Now, typically, I did a little research on this because we've never actually grown them from seed.
I was trying to think, we've never grown them from seed?
We've never grown Shasta daisies from seed.
Divided them, I guess.
So, yeah. And so the seeds, you want to make sure that you're keeping a constant temperature in the soil around the seed. A lot of people think, oh, the temperature, it's the air temperature. Well, yes, but also no. The temperature really comes down for temperature around that seed in the soil. And it's usually, the seeds, they're going to be closer to the surface of the soil. You're not going to plant them in a huge pot. You're going to put them probably in a seed tray. You might direct sow them too. But when you want to get them to germinate, you need to make sure that the temperature is up to about 65, maybe 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, being out in Australia, you're probably going to go by Celsius. Sorry, I don't have that equivalent.
I know.
But it's easy to figure out online if you Google it. So anyway, so make sure that you just sow your seeds and follow the basic rules of seed germination. Make sure they got enough. They're planted at the right depth. They're getting enough moisture, and they're at a warm enough temperature. So also for taking cuttings, we haven't taken the cuttings.
This idea, though.
And we want to try it now. So thank you. And so what we found out too from a little bit of research is the division. It's a kind of division. You can take so Shasta daisies in general, they grow from a crown. Because they're herbaceous perennial, they grow up every year and then they die back down to the ground. And there's basically this crown of leaves, and then the roots underneath them. So they have this structure right at the just above the soil surface. And so what you can do is they grow kind of out. So the older part of the plant is usually in the center, and the younger parts of the plant are on the perimeter of the plant. So what you can do is you can go and look at your older plants if you have older plants. 3 to 5 years, you don't want to do this, what I'm about to tell you, from a 2-year-old plant or a 1-year-old plant, because they're not really established yet. They're not going to be healthy enough probably. So from about a 3 or so year old plant, go to the perimeter of the plant of its growth, from that crown, look at the edges on that perimeter and look for what they're called side shoots. And basically it's the newest growth and it's the shoots coming up. And you want to do this in the spring. Look for those shoots coming up. The new growth, and dig down around them really gingerly and see if they're rooted, if there's roots coming off of those new shoots on the perimeter of that plant. And if there are, you can cut those shoots away if you just go straight down and keep those roots attached don't damage the roots around that little side shoot. Now you can pull that away and you've got a whole new plant, and that's a really good way to propagate new plants. It's kind of a form of division.
Right, that's what it sounds like.
But it's looking for those side shoots. It's a little bit different from just taking a whole plant and cutting it down the middle or taking a wedge out of it and then creating a new plant that way. So you can try all these. So that's what's recommended to propagate and create new plants for Shasta daisies. But we're going to do the cuttings.
But now I'm
that's going to be fun
because you guys probably know if you watch our videos, we love propagating and trying out
cuttings.
Taking stem cuttings.
Cuttings all the time.
The most recent experiment we did a few months ago, or maybe like 2 months ago, we took we tried to take stem cuttings from our cordyline plant.
Yes.
I think that was the most recent one.
No.
Sedums.
Sedums.
We did sedums.
Sedum.
Those all like rooted like crazy.
Here.
But the cordylines.
I'm going to get a Kleenex. Be right back.
It was kind of an experiment, and we had mixed results. Actually, they did okay until kind of toward the end. There was some clear damage where they kind of all got pushed over onto the ground and tumbled out of their little containers. We think that was a squirrel. We're pretty sure that was a squirrel. But then we had one that actually looked like it might have made it. So
squirrels.
I know, they're crazy. But this form of propagation was not recommended. It wasn't, well, there was just no literature about it. There was nothing. We did a ton of research before this video, and we're still happy we tried it, and we'll probably try it again.
Yeah, there was no research, and we should clarify, there was no research on how we went about and took those cuttings, but there was research out there, and there was a lot of literature saying, take like an established plant, a mature plant with the long stem, cut it down to the ground.
Right, that's true.
And then take that long stem, cut it into about 3 to 6 inch sections of that stem, and then bury the whole stem in soil, and then water it, keep it moist, and then you would get a whole new plant from that. So
apparently that was really successful for a lot of people. So we might have to try that sometime.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to experiment, though, right? Do you guys experiment in your garden with things that you're told maybe won't work, but then you try it anyway? Because we've done that many times.
Yes.
So, but anyway.
So anyway, that was fun.
So propagation.
Yes. Awesome. So hope that helps you, Julia. Thank you for your question, and we'll be answering this directly to you right after the live. So
yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of you are kind of starting to pop in the chat here.
Oh, cool.
Or maybe not the chat, but at least kind of show up. So let us know if you're here. Drop a note in the chat and say hi, and where are you watching from this morning? So moving on then, we're talking about some audience question and answers. So the next one from George King on our video, how to take coleus cuttings. Here's another propagation one. So George asks, how many different types of coleus would you propagate together? Not sure if I understand that part of the question.
It's a little ambiguous, but let's get to the rest of the comment.
So he said, great video, which we appreciate. Thank you. Have done for 3 years with great results. Meaning, I guess he's done coleus cuttings, water propagation. It sounds like, and you've never tried the other ways that we showed, I guess.
Which
were confused with this question,
it sounds like to me he's done a lot of the water propagation. He hasn't tried the he hasn't done the soil propagation with the treated or untreated cuttings. And with coleus, it's pretty cool. You don't have to really do anything to them. You just take the cuttings. You can stick them in water. You can stick them in soil. They just root all by themselves.
Hey, you said root.
Ha. Yeah, so, but it sounds like he's mainly done water cuttings. And so from that perspective and how George is asking this about how many different types of coleus would you propagate together, I would guess and say it's how many coleus would we propagate together in a container of water.
Oh, gotcha.
And
yeah,
you can pack them in. That's the thing. You can pack them in, George, if you're watching. Maybe you're not. And we'll answer your question again directly on YouTube after this live. So what you can do, George, is you need to think about how many cuttings to put together in a container of water. It depends on how big that container is. What you want to think about is not only is there going to be enough water for all the stems to be in, because you don't want all the stems to be tightly, like if these are the stems, you don't want them all tightly bound all together like you would find in a what do you call it? Like an arrangement of flowers where all those stems are super tight together. There's no space. You don't want that. You want them to have their own room and their own space even in that water when you're propagating them. And then on top, that's in the container. On top, you want to make sure that there's going to be leaves because the plant needs to photosynthesize to stay alive and to develop those new roots, to force it to develop the new roots on those shoots. So with those leaves out, you want to make sure that they're all getting full sun. None of them are shading each other. They're not covering each other. There's none of that going on. They're not super bunched together. So you want to make sure that if you have, let's say, five stem cuttings in a container of water, you want to make sure that all 5 of those stem cuttings have at least each stem cutting, I need more coffee. Each stem cutting needs at least 2 leaves coming off the very top of the plant, fully developed, and they need to be able to photosynthesize with full exposure to the sun. So keeping that in mind, placing them in the container and maneuvering them through and positioning them so they all aren't shading each other. We don't want them shading each other. So you got to keep that in mind. So that's what I would say. Just bunch them together, put as many together as you want, but make sure they got enough room and their stems aren't super tight down below in the water because that can lead to rot and some other weird stuff. And then also make sure those leaves up on top are all getting full sun exposure.
Well, and I'm curious, that was good. I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, when we took our sedum cuttings, we kind of packed them in the water little jar. We couldn't find a lot of empty jars available at first, so we kind of just packed in a whole bunch of cuttings, and the roots are like crazy in that little jar right now.
Yeah.
They're kind of swirling.
There's some fun stuff happening with that too, but that's a different subject for a different time.
So, but the coleus, I'm wondering if he also thinking about our soil propagation. You know, in our we always have little 4-inch pots, and we usually put at least 2 cuttings per.
Well, usually we do 1. And then if we have extra, we will double them up just to maximize our space and make sure we don't throw away any cuttings. But yeah.
So okay. Yeah. We hope that helped, George.
Yeah, hope that helps, George.
So we'll like Sean said, we'll answer that question directly on YouTube as well. But so moving on to our last question.
Last question.
So I'm very sorry if I say your name incorrectly, but from Sabah Abdulaziz, I think, on the Blanket Flower Plant Chat, which was from maybe 2 years ago, Sabah says, I have a blanket flower in a pot, and how would I take care of it in the winter?
That's a really good question.
It is.
You know, so Sabah, thank you for your question. And what you would do is, what I would suggest you would do is treat it like any other of your potted plants out there. It is a perennial. It's a herbaceous perennial. So treat it like that, like you would any other herbaceous perennial. First thing you want to think about, is it hardy in your area? So where you garden. So if it is hardy, if it's in the right zone, so it's hardy down to the coldest temperatures, the average coldest temperatures in your area, then it should be fine just keeping it outdoors. What you can do to help protect it from wind or, storm damage and trees falling or, anything like that, you can take it and bring it up next to a structure like your house or a shed, and it'll get that residual heat, and that'll help protect a little bit more those roots, because what happens is your plant's in a pot, right? It's in a container, so it's above the ground. If you think about this, so when it's above the ground, even though it's in that container, its roots are exposed to the elements, to the air and the cold temperatures and moisture and freeze thaw. It's a lot more exposed up above the ground level than it would be down below, because down below, if it's in the ground, the roots aren't exposed at all. It's surrounded by soil. It's got that a little bit of insulation at least, but above the ground, its roots are completely exposed. So if you get a hard freeze and that freeze goes below your average coldest temperature that you're supposed to be hardy in your area, your hardiness zone, that can damage or kill your plant. So the best thing to do, in our opinion, is take a lot of those plants, if they're kind of on the cusp of your zone, your cold hardiness zone, or you're just not sure and you just want to hedge your bets, bring the whole pot up against your house or a structure, and that'll help protect with residual heat those roots.
That's what I was just thinking. I miss our blanket flower that we left at our old house.
I know.
We brought one of them with us, and then the other one we had to leave when we moved. So we'll have to add another one someday.
Yes. And
they're so beautiful.
And also, Sabah, I want to tell you what we have done with our potted plants recently is we've done it in the past, but we really got into it this past summer. Is we mulched. We put mulch on top, on top of the soil in the container, and you can go about 2 inches. 2 inches is okay. You go 3 inches, that's okay. Maybe 4, but maybe 2 to 3 thick around the container. On top of the soil in the container, and that helps insulate the top part of the roots too.
Yeah, great suggestion. I know we have a few more pots we need to do that with as well. So that's such a great insulation.
So thank you, Sabah.
Thank you, Sabah. I hope that was helpful.
So cool.
We had a great question from Connie Graham from Oregon.
Oh, hi Connie.
Connie was kind of thinking about, we were talking about how to take the coleus cuttings from that question, and Connie asked, how many leaves can I leave on the stem of a coleus for cuttings?
How many leaves? Well, good question, Connie. Good question. And so the general rule of thumb for taking cuttings is you want to get, for stem cuttings anyways, you want to get about 4 to 6 inches length of healthy stem. And so you can go a little bit longer if you want, but you don't want it too long. You don't want it too long there in its length. But so go 4 to 6 inches, and when you do that, you're gonna take that cutting, and there's gonna be leaves along the stem coming out. You're gonna need to remove those. You're gonna need to cut those off, because parts of that stem are gonna go below the soil, and you don't want to have those leaves or part of those leaves below the soil, because they're just gonna rot.
Or water even, right?
Well, in water, yeah, totally. Yeah, so soil or water. And so cut those leaves off that are gonna be on the part of the stem that are going to be below the soil level, And then, so what you'll do is, so you're gonna go up the stem. You can leave 2 leaves up on top. And so if you got a stem, usually coleus, they're direct opposites, I think. So a stem will come off here on this side, and a stem will come off this side. So it's, a leaf will come off this side, a leaf will come off this side. So leave those top 2 leaves, definitely, and fully formed. Try to make sure they're fully formed, they're large enough. They're not tiny little leaves like the size of my fingernail. You don't want that. So you want fully formed leaves, and make sure they're healthy. You can leave a second set of leaves. So if you got your first pair of leaves up top, you can have a second pair down below those, but just make sure that they are not going. No parts of them are going below the soil. So you can have 2 sets of leaves is good. If you have any more than that, it might be hard for the plant to stay hydrated because it's constantly trying to photosynthesize, and it might actually just kind of burn itself up. It might burn through too many nutrients and water too fast. So I hope that helps.
I know. Yeah, Connie, let us know if that was helpful for you. And I'm curious if you're trying to root them in soil or water.
Yeah, right.
Because we've done both, and they were both successful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Coleus are fun.
Great question.
We have some that we need to do, actually. We have some cuttings of coleus to take, I think.
Yes, we do.
On our list. So thank you for reminding us. So, okay, you guys, that was, we hope that was helpful for the 3 of you, the 3 questions that we chose, and we're going to move on, right?
Totes, unless there's more going on in the chat there.
There is not right now, so we're good. Well, I threw a poll question up, so we were just curious, kind of related to today's topic about pumpkins. Did you carve a pumpkin this year?
Cool.
So 50% have said yes, and 50% have said no at this point.
Yeah.
So,
If you're here with us but you're not in the chat, go in there. We really want to know what you've done with your pumpkin. So did you carve it? Did you not carve it? And so so let us know, because we really want to know. It's fun.
I know we do. And Connie, thank you for letting us know. She said water cuttings, and she said thank you.
Cool. You bet,
So
Connie.
that was helpful.
You bet.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some things going on in the news, and one of these items has kind of been, it was probably started or released back in maybe September, maybe August, which there's a garden organization that is in our industry, and they release a report every year to kind of talk about the trends that they propose or that they kind of predict for the following year, if that makes sense.
It's from Garden Media Group. And they're a great organization. Yeah, they always come up with 7 trends for the next year. So we've got we've got these 7 trends. Yeah, because we haven't talked about this yet.
I don't think we have.
No. And so so for 2023, we've got the 7 trends, and there's a couple we wanted to just kind of pinpoint because we thought they were interesting.
Yeah, and if you want to read, there's several articles out there about it, but we linked an article in the description. So if you want to read about the rest of the trends, it's what was our article called? It's just 2023 Garden Trends Report.
Yeah, so you can Google that or DuckDuckGo it or whatever.
We've got it linked in our description too.
Yep, it's down in the description. All the links and everything we're talking about today, the links are down in the description for this live. So click through, maybe open it up and start skimming it while we're talking or whatever.
Yeah, so okay, should we get started?
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
All right. One of the first trends they mentioned they call it the Tesla effect.
The name is awesome.
Tesla. So you think about it and you're like, okay, Elon Musk, innovation. I mean, maybe you think that.
See, the first thing I thought was Nikola Tesla.
I know, that was kind of.
Because it's more towards him and what he kind of did.
True.
As far as electricity.
So it's like, this trend they're predicting is for next year is this whole innovative gardening type trend where right, like technology is kind of the big push as far as like tools and equipment, right?
Yep. So what's going on is they're saying the industry is going to move more towards, and people are looking for more electric, electric blowers, mowers, things that push with the start of a button, things that are very innovative. Like there's a robot weeding machine. I can't remember the name of it, but it's been out for a couple years. It's pretty cool. So there's all these different things coming out, and so this is more of a trend. It's been coming for a few years. It's not like it's a new thing, but the trend is actually building momentum.
Yeah,
and so it's in 2023. It's being touted as this is going to be a really big trend that you're going to see not only online, but you're also going to see it at your garden centers. You're going to see it at your box stores. You're going to see it at a lot of different hardware stores. So.
And I just remembered another part of that is like using apps to help like garden, basically.
Yep.
Do any of you use garden apps, you know, just regularly?
Good question. Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
No, we've used like,
a couple.
What was that one to identify plants?
There were a couple cool plant identification ones, but then I don't know, I don't trust them all the way because I'm like, how can they be 100% accurate?
Yeah, sometimes they weren't right.
They weren't correct. So we kind of tested them against a really massive encyclopedia of plant books that we have, and they're really
But yeah, that's a great question. The apps. Well, there's apps not only for plant identification, but there's apps to organize or get organized in your garden. There's apps to help you stay on top of watering in your garden, and then identify pests and diseases and things to help you design. It's really cool.
Some of the design ones are actually pretty cool. I can't think of the name of any of them right now. We have to look on our Google app thing.
Yeah.
But
so that's the Tesla effect. So that's coming.
Technology
2023
and gardening intertwine even more. So
the next one we wanted to highlight was it's not all Greek to me, but it's all Greek to me. So there's this new trend coming, and it's kind of been building a little bit of momentum, just like the Tesla effect one, where people are thinking more of classical types of gardening. When you think classical anything, I mean, part of my mind goes to classical music, but no, in this case, it's Greek. It's the Greek type of gardening. It's the classical Greek. It's almost like mythological types of things popped in my head, you know, those ideas. But with this trend, it's really about Greek type of gardening, Mediterranean types of gardening. We're talking about drought-resistant plants like lavender and sage, and not only the plants, but the statuaries.
The statues. So and this is a trend that directly came from like interior design, where like apparently I wasn't aware of this, but I guess Greek has been kind of a big thing for the past little bit here. So it's kind of translating over to the garden where, like you said, like Greek statues, kind of that romantic kind of vibe, you know, where you have
classical romantic
fountains and, you know, topiaries, even maybe like just beautiful columns and different things. I guess that's kind of been a thing for a bit here.
It's been building a little bit here and there, but it's really going to be huge coming up in 2023, and especially for the garden centers. And when you're even online, you're going to see this new trend. You know, you're going to see it in your advertisements. You're going to see it in a lot of the products that are being made available. So just keep an eye out for it.
I'm kind of curious if that really will happen. Like, do you think we'll really see that? I don't know.
That's what the report said. So I think it'll happen. I think so. Do you think so?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious if like any of you already do this in your garden and have some beautiful statues and different things in your garden already.
Garden statuary.
Like Greek statues.
Yeah.
We don't right now, but
we don't. But that's okay.
But that's. I mean, even in our old garden, we didn't have anything.
We didn't have anything Greek. I think we had a Buddha.
We had a Buddha.
Yeah,
in a garden.
That was from your grandpa.
That was cute.
Yeah, that was cool.
So maybe in our future garden we'll add some things.
Yes.
So that again is like a Greek trend coming next year. I think the next one we wanted to talk about is the color of the year. They're talking about. It's kind of not a big surprise to me, but like they're calling for the color of the year for gardening, for design, for maybe think like all your containers and just different things is terracotta.
Terracotta.
So that's
pretty cool.
Is that really that big of a surprise? I don't know.
Yeah. So
I like terracotta.
So when you think, because they called it out in the article, what do you think when you hear terracotta?
I think just like warmth, just colors that are kind of in that. I mean, what is terracotta? It's kind of an orangish color, kind of, right? Kind of earthy tones.
Yep, and they called that out in the article. They also called out that it's kind of a return to the 60s and 70s type of acid, they called it an acid type of color, or acid coloring, where it looks kind of faded, but also it's new and trendy. So it's kind of interesting to think about.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah.
I love that color. We love terracotta.
We have terracotta pots.
There's a lot of, there's some care you want to consider when you're using terracotta pots, especially going into winter.
Yes.
They can crack, so most people kind of clean them up and move them inside or, something like that. So anyway.
Cool. Yeah. So and really quick, we want to tell you all 7 of these trends. So there's the Tesla effect, there's the backdoor revolution, there's the accessible gardening, plant talk, which is plant talking on TikTok.
Like TikTok, like plant talk.
Yep. And then there's all Greek to me, all Greek to me. I would say it's all Greek to me. Then redrawing the map, and then color of the year terracotta.
No,
So
I know we weren't going to really mention this yet, but the redrawing the map one is interesting. And it's talking about, if I remember right, how, with climate kind of changing and things are warming up, like how we've kind of all shifted into like almost a higher zone than we used to be in.
yeah, there's it's basically, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the zones are changing where everybody's basically, if like for us, we've always been 8B. So, but now we're going to go up to about a 9A or a 9B fairly fast.
Like anyway,
because our climate is changing. And so we've talked to other garden people, people like us that do garden content or podcasts, and they're saying the same thing. Like on the East Coast, it's definitely happening where they're seeing a warming trend moving up the eastern seaboard, where they're moving up in a zone or two, and they're losing plant life, and that was called out too in the article, that mostly trees aren't adapting fast enough in a lot of areas where this change is happening, and they're seeing a lot of plant dieback and a lot of tree death, and trees are very important.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So anyway.
So it's like, I guess the takeaway maybe for all of us would be, making sure we're planting the right plant in the right place and like the right conditions, and just having that knowledge.
Yes, they called out in the article, right plant, right place, which is, take the right plant that's for your zone and put it in the right place where it's going to thrive the best in your garden, and it's zoned for your garden. But also, takeaway from the article too was plant more trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, plant trees if you can. Add trees to your landscape. Add them to your local area, because
the right trees.
Yeah, the right trees, but add them because it's only going to help things. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway. I love thinking about that and thinking about how many trees, like saplings, that we have growing all over our container garden right now that came with us from the old house.
A lot of volunteers.
So
it's cool though.
I'm excited because there's so many beautiful trees that we left behind.
We think we have a paper bark birch, or two, maybe one or two of those.
Cuttings didn't do so well.
We know we probably have probably 20 ash seedlings,
so many
ash trees.
Which I love. We loved that tree.
Yeah.
We had a beautiful, huge old mountain ash tree in our old yard.
Yeah, it must have been probably 40, 50 years old.
Beautiful.
It was huge. It was like 30, 40 feet tall.
Pollinators loved it. The birds just loved that tree.
Oh, yeah. And then I think there might be a golden chain tree or two
so cool.
seedling.
Golden chains.
So
what, 3?
We had like 2.5.
Oh, 2.5.
The half
was on the side.
Yeah, was on the side of the neighbors. So
the golden chain was so beautiful. Those were all planted by my grandparents, so they were like 40, 50 years old.
Yeah, big.
And we lived there.
Big.
They were gorgeous. So
anyway,
trees
are good.
Okay. So, sorry, getting off topic here. I guess that's that.
So that's trends.
So we have another news item to share with you.
Yeah. So this was really interesting. Cool. So there's a lot of talk about Web3 and different things coming in. Did you want to mention something first?
Well, I'm sorry, Connie, we missed your comment about, she said she uses an app called Picture This, and it comes in handy when it's needed, and she says, it's not perfect, but it's pretty helpful.
Neat. Picture This. We're going to have to check this. We're going to have to check.
I think I might have that app.
Check that out.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sounds like you take a picture of the plant and submit it, and then they'll try to best I'd get.
Oh, that's neat. Okay. So it's an ID app. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Okay. Right on. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Connie.
Thank you.
Our second article that we wanted to tell you about is basically, there's a lot of talk about Web3 and also, kind of a little bit of crypto and some different things that are going on.
NFTs.
Yeah.
And all this.
So, but what's going on with this article is interesting because it's a video game by Nintendo, so that's cool. We like Nintendo. We grew up with Nintendo, so yeah, we really did.
I used to love Nintendo.
Yeah. So hey, tell us in the comment section if you grew up with Nintendo too.
Like Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, duck hunt.
To do with gardening.
There was duck hunting, and there was.
Yeah, I never liked the duck hunting game.
Yeah, it was hard.
I just didn't like it.
There was that driving game, that car game. Anyway, so this is a video game, and it's based on gardening, and it's supposed to give you. You're supposed to basically you've already bought it. It basically assumes you've bought your property, and right now it takes place just in Japan, so maybe it could take place in other places, but you're in the country of Japan, out in the country, and you've got your homestead now, and so they're giving you the experience through the video game of taking care and building your homestead, And so you go through and you get the land, you develop it, you do all these things. But they wanted to make it more realistic, so they went to and partnered up with Kevin at Epic Gardening, which was really cool.
It's interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is something in the article they interviewed him, and he said that he'd been interested in some video games in the past, and there's some other ones out there. I guess maybe you guys know of some of these that are kind of like a virtual reality-ish.
It's building.
It's
building on a virtual reality, and so in a lot of these games now, right now that you can do is you go in, you buy into the game, you get property, and then through the game and the app or whatever, you can buy supplies, you can get animals, you can do all these things, but there actually is a real world money component to buy into this and keep it going and different things. Yeah. So with this game, I don't think so, but with the other places though, especially Web3 and virtual property, you can do all these things. So that then it's in development. But with this, they brought Kevin in to help develop this video game because they wanted to make it more realistic and make sure that not only are they getting, I'm grabbing this, I'm building this, I'm doing this, let's say, but also there's the maintenance side of it. There's actual work that needs to be done, and they wanted to build that in to the video game to make it more realistic, to get people a more realistic feel of what it's like to be an actual gardener and homesteader.
Huh.
So
this literally doesn't appeal to me at all. And that's just me. I'm just I don't have time to play video games. I think they sound fun, but what do you guys think? I don't know. Is this...
Well, and I can see it from the standpoint of people wanting to play this game because they don't have access to a garden, but they want to build. Yeah. No, it's okay. I mean, you and I, we're busy people. We have a garden. It's just 2 hours away. Yeah. But so for people that don't have access to this and they want to still have that experience, they can do that through this game, and that's cool.
And for that matter, that is really cool. It's just I just would hope people would get outside and be able to get in their own garden. But I guess, like you said, if they don't have the space, a lot of people don't. So
no, and that's okay.
It's a cool experience and way to actually garden and maybe learn some skills.
It's a really nice alternative.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
So with this too, hopefully people would play this game and then stop playing the game and go get some property or have a yard or get a plot at a community garden where they can physically go do these things that they've learned and build upon those skills from the game.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a link to the article if you want to learn more about it, learn about the game. I think it's called Sunnyside is the game, and it's developed by Rainy Games. It comes out in first quarter of 2023. Yeah, it's not out yet. So, but the link's down below, so check it out if you want to know more.
And then I think there were some other, like we were saying, there were some other games and stuff mentioned in that article if that's something you're interested in. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the names of any of them.
Oh, it's okay.
Sorry, but
it's in the article. Sorry, guys, I got a runny nose.
So basically, that's our news segment. We wanted to talk about trends coming up, and then the game, just to kind of introduce you to some new things coming our way, and see,
that's kind of cool,
kind of give you the info, and you can take it and kind of see if it works for you, or just have that awareness, right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
It's fun to
yeah. So, stuff happening.
So there's things happening.
Gardening in the news.
That's right, which is a lot more fun to talk about than the real news.
So moving on to our next. Halloween's coming up.
Halloween. I know.
Maybe you've got a pumpkin, maybe you don't. Maybe you're thinking about it, but you're like, maybe you're like, I want to get a pumpkin, but what do I do with it afterwards? I don't want to make a mess.
Right. You don't want to be wasteful.
I don't want to just throw it away. What if I get a pumpkin? What am I going to do with it after the holidays? So we actually have a couple different things that you can do with your pumpkin, whether you've carved it or you haven't carved it.
Or you painted it.
That's
another option, ours, which, you know what, this makes me laugh. I was going for an ocean theme, and then I didn't finish this part, so.
It's all good.
And yours actually looks kind of scary. It's good. You did that well.
Thank you.
Now, what we have since decided is this is acrylic paint, so we're hoping we can just wash it off. That's kind of our goal.
Yes, and if we can't, our plan is just to shave these parts off to get it fully off, and then we will take advantage of some of the other things we can do with this, with our pumpkins, which we're going to go over right now.
Yes. So let's start with the fact that maybe you have carved it already, and you're like, well, it's just sitting outside now. What do I do? Well, it might be kind of yucky and gross, maybe a little bit. There are some options you can still do some things with. Kind of the obvious one, maybe you think of roasting seeds.
Yes.
Right? Just
Yes.
harvest those seeds out and like clean them up and roast them. Put some salt on them.
Yep.
That is fun.
And sometimes what people do too is they'll carve it, they'll cut out the top, they'll carve it and empty it all out. So once you do that, if you're going to do that this weekend, save the seeds. You can clean them off, like Allison said, and bake them and put some salt on them, or even like what is that, seasonal, or there's
so many. Yeah, you could experiment with.
Yeah, and just put your favorite seasoning on them, bake them for about 20 minutes or so, and they come out nice and crunchy. Great snack.
They are good. They're healthy.
So yeah. So anyway.
Now, speaking of the seed, you could just like clean it all up, get them all dry, and save them. You could use them for next year. Try to grow your own new pumpkins. You
can try. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know. I mean, so it depends on where you got your pumpkin from and if the seed's viable.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's not, it's a great experiment. Yeah, it'd be worth a try.
So
yeah, that'd be fun.
That's an option. So one thing that we always think of is like, as far as like what to do with them after is feeding the critters.
Yes.
Pumpkin's actually very healthy. We used to give it to our dogs a little bit here and there.
Yeah, it's actually healthy for them.
Yeah, it's healthy for us. It's healthy for critters. But not like this, and again, we didn't carve our pumpkin.
With the paint, she means. Yeah.
And so if you did carve your pumpkin, you could still potentially feed the critters, but there's some things you might need to do. You might need to clean it up, and if you preserved it with any kind of wax or any kind of coating, you don't want to make critters sick. So you might want to consider, well, if it's healthy and viable, then yes, you can feed them. Another thing that we've read about is, if you've lit your candle inside and like if there's any of the black sooty stuff inside, that's going to probably make critters sick. So don't either cut it out, as best you can.
Yep, carve it out. Yep, get it out of there.
And then you can maybe cut it up in chunks and like put it out in a safe area. Now, a lot of people worry about, you are going to attract everything. I mean, if you don't care about that and it's like an area of your yard where you're like, whatever, because I mean, you will attract probably rats and mice. So if you're kind of like squeamish or like don't want to attract them, then your next option would be just maybe to compost it. Maybe you already have that system set up and you can get it out because they'll compost really well.
Yeah, it's fun to just get it in there and compost. A lot of good nutrients in this. Another thing you can do is you can turn this whole pumpkin into a planter.
That's cute.
That'd be fun. So let's say you carved it out here too, but it's only so far down, and so you're like, okay, well, I have from about here down, it's not carved. So what you can do is just completely cut it all the way around at this point, or keep it up here. But if you keep some of the holes and stuff, the soil's going to come out. But what you do is just, cut it here, make sure that, give it a nice rim like a container, and then fill it full of soil and put some plants in it. You could put some kale or some violas.
Be a little mum. Maybe punch some holes in the very bottom for drainage. Maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of like treat it like a real container.
Definitely.
No, obviously it's not going to last forever.
No.
So you could try that anyway and then compost it when it's all done.
Yeah, well, or just take it when it's really starting to deteriorate on the pumpkin. Take the whole thing and plant it in the ground.
Oh, that's true.
And then you're kind of composting it, and then it's just
bury it.
Yeah, maybe. It's just kind of just placing it right in there. It'll be fine.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah. Another idea that some people have done with their pumpkins is turned it into a bird feeder. So again, if you already carved it and you, like Sean said, just kind of, we're using this as our carved pumpkin, you kind of cut around, the parts that you carved, you can be creative and maybe like, hang it somehow or like just place it in an area, put some seed in it, put some, the pumpkin seeds, they can eat those too. So it's, that's kind of fun. Maybe let it kind of stay out there for a little bit until it gets yucky and squishy again and then compost it or bury it or something.
Totally, yeah. Something else you can do too, if you can't feed the critters or don't want to feed the critters around your house or your neighborhood, give it to a zoo or a local farm.
Yeah, I love that idea.
That's good. So they could probably use it, and it's it's basically free food for their animals.
Just like make sure they're taking donations, see who's accepting things, because I think that idea. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's nice. The other thing you can do too, if you can't compost, you can't give it away, don't want the critters to get it, just bury it. Dig a hole and bury it.
So that's...
Yep, and then it goes back to nature eventually, and that's nice. That's good to do.
Yeah, so I mean, these give you some ideas of some ways to prolong your pumpkins, so you're not just throwing them all away. There's fun creative ideas of things you can do.
So now that's if you carved it.
Yeah.
Now, if you didn't carve it and it's a whole pumpkin, if it just looks like this.
I know, because some people, we've done this before. You just kind of stick them out on your
Yeah.
porch.
There's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have a whole pumpkin, then you have a ton more options as far as like edible type things for for human consumption.
Which I like pumpkin everything.
Like basically, you can just cut it open at this point and just carve everything out. You can, the sky's the limit as far as any kind of baking or maybe save, put it in a smoothie or, there's a lot of things you can do. Pies.
And bread.
Pumpkin bread. We love pumpkin bread.
Oh, and muffins.
Muffins. Some people have found creative ways to, use it as a puree or make soup. Or even use it for pumpkin spice.
Totally.
Some type of, coffee drink, like a latte or something.
Yeah, totally.
So all of those options are open, obviously to you, because it hasn't been sitting outside and gotten all moldy and yucky. Obviously, you don't want to eat it then, but
yeah. So if you haven't carved it, it's still intact. Another thing you can do is cut it open and use the meat of this pumpkin for cooking, but then save the seeds. And it's really cool because, again, like we talked to you before, you can eat them, you can bake them, you can save them, you can do all these things. It's really cool.
I know. So there's a lot of options for you. And then once you cut it, then you can move over to the category of like, okay, well, I've cut it. Now what? Make it into a feeder, use it as a planter, compost it, whatever.
Yeah. And then, another thing you can do, the last thing, is basically donate it. You can donate it to a food bank. You can donate it to your neighbors if they want it. Maybe somebody in the family would rather use it instead.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't want it, but your sister or your brother's like, I'll take it. So donate it.
Yeah,
so
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then again, if you painted them like we did, we're gonna try to wash all the acrylic off and get it all cleaned up, and then we might try to do some baking with it.
Yay! That'd be fun.
Probably compost it because
yeah, why not?
Save some seed. And I think that's going to be our plan.
So, yeah. Sorry, some of the paint's coming off.
Oh, well, there you go.
Got it on my hands.
Whoops.
So, oops.
So anyway, that is just, I don't know, we thought that'd be fun and timely just to talk about. If you guys have any other ideas of things that you want to recommend that we all do, drop them in the chat or in the comments. If you're watching the replay, we would love to hear, what do you usually do with your pumpkins?
And we love recipes, so I love recipes.
Recipes are always welcome.
Food is always good. So, okay.
Pumpkin bread. Ooh, that sounds so good.
Putting that in there.
So good.
Okay, so I'm going to put this down.
On that note, let's check our poll. Did you carve a pumpkin this year for Halloween? Now we're down to no. 67% said no.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
one yes.
Okay, that's
so
cool.
I guess that you might have the pumpkin but didn't carve it. I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like a decoration.
Yeah,
Maybe
like
you have the
usually.
small ones, That's cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
thank you for
That was fun.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Can't believe Halloween's on Monday. So moving forward.
Oh, that's
Go
me.
ahead.
That's me.
Sure,
that's my part
know.
here.
I
Okay,
know. Not
so
working on it.
so the next thing we want to talk to you about, our next segment, is what's new at Spoken Garden.
What is new?
What is new with us? Oh my gosh! So
Lots of things.
there's always new stuff going on. We're still developing the website, and that's almost done. We're
Can't
getting
wait to
closer,
show you
and
guys.
our web developer is awesome. She's doing a great job. She's got a lot of great ideas. So
doing amazing.
yeah. So.
We'll show you that in a couple weeks.
Yes, we're so excited. So next up, the next new thing is the Northwest Flower and Garden Show.
I think we might have talked about this last week a
We
little bit.
did, but we didn't talk about the one thing. We are going to be speaking there. So we're doing Container Wars, which is one part of the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. And basically, every day of the show, there's two people that get up on stage and they create potted, containers. They create planted containers, and it's against each other to who can. You get so many plants, and then you get to compete and see. Everybody sees who makes the better planter.
It's going to be really
And
interesting.
it's moderated, and there's usually an audience. So we're going to be up there. We're dueling.
It's McManus versus McManus.
Yeah,
So
so-
it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
Plus,
may the best McManus win.
I know. It's going to be really interesting. But they just released, the website is now live as far as all the speaking, all the amazing speakers that are going to be there. And if you like to go and learn new things, and if you're in the Seattle area, check out gardenshow.com. I think we linked it in the description as well.
Yep, it's live.
And you can see maybe there's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday sessions.
And we're going to be Sunday.
We're on Sunday
We're on
afternoon.
Sunday.
I know, it's going to be awesome.
So Sunday at 11:30, and then I think at 3 or 4.
Yeah,
we're on the DIY stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, go there, check it out. Look at all the speakers. There's going to be some amazing speakers there throughout the whole week. And then if you can start to buy your tickets, I think too right now. So if you want to lock it in, get on there, gardenshow.com.
Yeah.
So really cool.
Really cool. So that's coming up. I don't know if we mentioned that's in February of this year. Yep. We don't have the date written, but it's like the second weekend of February.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've been going live a lot lately for the National Garden Bureau accounts on both Facebook and Instagram. So we've interviewed 2 authors at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to interview our third author this coming Monday. So that's really new. This is a new thing for us.
Really fun and scary and fun.
Yeah, because you're live. It's like doing one of these lives with you guys every Saturday, except it's very finite. It's maybe 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and it's like rapid fire. So, and we trade off on our duties and what we say. So it's fun though. It's a new experience, and that's what's new for us, and we really like doing this.
A great experience so far.
And why we're doing this is because we really enjoy National Garden Bureau, ngb.org, and we're members there, and at GardenCom International, Garden Communicators International, and they're putting on this November 10th event at 7 p.m. to talk with. It's going to be moderated by an author, but it's going to be moderated to talk to 4 different authors and talk about not only their books, but also just to get to know them a little bit. And it's going to be about an hour or so.
It's about an hour.
And it's basically a Zoom. You can go get registered and get signed up. It's It's a bit.ly link. So it's bit.ly/fall book party. And you get to talk to, or not talk to, but you get to know these 4 different authors. Let's see. So actually 5 authors. So there's Terry Spate. I'll say her name right one of these days. There's Janice Cox, there's Kim Roman, there's Kim Eierman,
2 Kims there.
And Mary Kate Mackey. All of them great speakers, great authors. 5 different perspectives on gardening itself and a lot of different niche topics. So it's really cool.
Really cool.
So anyway.
So, okay, we've got, there's other stuff probably new with us, but, just like you, everybody's busy and... Yeah. So our goal is to definitely get some more filming done because it's been a little hard to get our videos out.
Sorry guys, we've been really trying with the weather and then some different health stuff and whatever. But
we're excited. We have some good videos coming up. So speaking of videos on YouTube right now, and I'm curious if any of you are doing this in your garden, right? The top 3 videos are that we've had in the past week. So the first one is identifying slug eggs in the soil of new plants. And that was a short we put out, which means it's just 60 seconds or less, just a really quick video.
Yep, and that video was about a potted plant that we had just bought, and we wanted to show you where to look for slug eggs, not only on top, but on the sides and inside, inside the potted plant. When you pull the plant out, right around the perimeter where the soil meets up with the black container or pot container, whatever that it's in, where those slug eggs are and what to look for and what they look like and what to do with it.
It's surprising. I actually never knew. I don't know. We found these on some plants back in the spring as well, and we were like, oh.
Yeah, and
it's something to be aware of.
And it's like if you don't know, then you don't know. So it's good to know.
It's definite awareness. So we hope that was helpful.
That was deep.
Our second video that's been most watched this past week: how to overwinter potted mums.
Yes.
So
yes, that was good. That was a very fun video, and there's a lot of comments we're getting and a lot of views on that right now. So it's good, very timely.
We hope that's helpful for people because that's something we're going to be needing to do again soon.
Yes.
Definitely.
And our third most watched video this last week was pruning hydrangeas for winter. Now we've run into over this last year. There's a lot of people out there talking about don't prune your hydrangeas. Whatever you do, never prune them ever. Or some people are saying just don't prune specific ones, and it's like it's kind of hard not to prune a plant when it's taking over a certain area, it's been planted in the wrong space, or things are too close to it. And so it's a good video. This is a good video for anybody to understand if you're going to prune a hydrangea, what you need to look for and understand what's going to happen afterwards.
I know, and it's there's. Like we talked a lot more about this last week too. Yeah. So
it kind of sticks.
It
kind of sticks with us.
It does, and it's still one of the top 3 videos. So we're happy, and hopefully that's helping some people. So yeah, that's probably it. You know what? We'll link these top 3 videos in our description in case you want to check them out. So we'll make sure that those are easy for you to find.
Yep, totally. Yeah.
But,
so
yeah.
And I think that was pretty much all we had today for you guys. So yeah, that was fun.
It was fun. You know, it's not super gardeny with our topic like pumpkins. I mean, it is kind of gardening, but it's relevant and it's timely. Yeah, so we hope that would maybe give you some ideas. And,
yes. Definitely.
And have, you know, just maybe you're going out carving today and having some Halloween stuff happening this weekend.
Make sure if you're going to get your pumpkins, buy local. Go to your farm stands. Go to even Trader Joe's. They always have really cool little pumpkins. They have some, the shapes and the colors are really cool.
But the farm stores, some of those, they're probably on sale this weekend.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you want to carve some more things up or have some pumpkins to work with for baking or whatnot.
Yep.
I know my mom was excited. She was going to run out to one of our favorite farms in Tacoma area, and they were all like marked considerably down.
Oh, so, cool. Yeah. Okay. Right on.
She was excited. So anyway, we hope you guys are doing really well, and we hope you have a great weekend and week ahead.
Yes.
And we'll be back next Saturday.
Yep. Stay safe. Get out in your gardens. Get your garden time in. Relax. Breathe deep. It's a crazy world out there.
It is. And the garden is our sanity right now.
Yes.
So,
yep.
yeah.
And definitely reach out to us on any of the videos. Put a comment in there, and or just say hi. So anyway.
So we'll see you guys next Saturday.
Yep. See you guys next Saturday.
Have a great week ahead.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Okay, bye everybody. Thank you.